So, if you are as old as I am, or even older than I am, you understand what this is immediately without me describing anything. But for those of you who don't know what this is a DustBuster. It was a sensation in the 80s, it was a sensation in the 90s. Like, most of us remember these things quite fondly. And quite simply, all it was a handheld vacuum cleaner. But not only was it just a handheld vacuum cleaner, it was a rechargeable unit as well. The whole bracket here has an AC adapter. And these exposed ends right here is just like 6 volts AC. And it would just plug in to the underside of the vacuum cleaner. And the idea was here is you have these hangers. You could have this mounted to your wall. And then whenever you needed it, it was a quick case of just, boom, go do what you want. And then when you're done, put it right back, and it goes right back to charging. They still sell these things. Well, not this style. Black & Decker seems to have gone through a bit of an existential crisis. But the DustBuster is remembered quite fondly by a lot of people. And if you can find one, they're still worth having. Just for that small vacuum cleaner you can quickly pull out and use and then put away again. This one here is 32 years old now. And why do I say it's 32 years old? If I flip it over here, there's actually a stamping mark here from the plastic casting, which indicates that the actual wall bracket was 1989. And if I pull that off, and we look at the power head of the vacuum, it's actually stamped here as well, 8940C. 1989, more than likely, week 40, and the C denotes what it labels right here, made in Canada. So this here is a North American manufactured item, more than likely with almost nothing that was manufactured or built offshore, or at least yet. And I'm kind of amazed that after 32 years, if I push the power button after letting it charge overnight, it does still have a little bit of battery juice left in it. And that's honestly not too bad considering I paid $5 for this thing at my local boutique of choice. But the problem is, after 32 years, those batteries... yeah, they're not doing all that well. So my guess here is that it's probably a good chance to replace them. They're not going to be lithium. They're likely not going to be nickel metal hydride. There's going to be regular nickel cadmiums. What kind of batteries are they going to... how many and what kind of batteries are going to be used in here? My guess is going to be these non-branded C-style cells. I actually have several of these here. How many of these am I going to need to rebuild this? Well, it takes, or it wants 3.6 volts DC. Each one of these is 1.2 volts. 1.2, 2.4, 3.6 volts. Running in series, and I bet you they're going to be hiding here in the handle. So we're going to pull this apart. I'm going to do some off-camera cleaning of the whole thing, but let's see what condition the batteries are in at all. So I'll take this off, and really all that's in here, there's a little flap at the bottom, which just kind of helps to keep the dirt in. Otherwise, there's already some dirt in here. And you have this filter here, which you can wash and clean and put it back in. Let me just put that out of the way. All right, and the power head unit itself looks to be held together with 3 screws. This is one of those things, it would be non-user serviceable parts inside. You would take this either to Black & Decker, and they would do the repair for you, or you would take it to a repair shop, and they would do it for you. Now, Black & Decker, if you send this back to them, more than likely will not know what the hell to do with it. And most repair shops are really not around anymore, simply because there's so much stuff where if it wears out or the batteries go bad, I'll just throw it away and get another one. But this is just too classic and, well, still just too usable to throw it away. So I think it's just 3 screws and it separates down the middle. There we go. Put those over there. How are Aha. Okay, it's stuck on the button. Do I have to... Okay, so there's little barb-like pieces in here, but they're not caught on anything. Okay, this has to go... Oh, what was that? I wonder... I see. Okay. So you have to push this down, I guess, and then pry. Did I just break it? No, I did not. Okay. There we go. Did I break it? Nope, I did not. Okay, no, I was caught up on these plastic tabs here. There's actually a little catch right here, so you have to push it down before you can slide it out. And because it was like that, I couldn't take it apart. Okay. Now will it come apart? Yeah, it just comes apart. Huh, that's impressive. Now, is it all held together? No, it's not. Okay, so there we go. So there's really not a whole hell of a lot to these. We have 3 batteries, which are not in the handle, it turns out. We have the contacts here for charging. And interestingly, we don't even have a... Hold on a second. So, it's weird. So the back of the vacuum cleaner says 3.6 volts DC, but our AC adapter, our output is 6.5 volts AC. Interesting. What is it doing here? Unless there's something that's going on inside of the charge cradle. Anyways, what am I doing here? We have our 3 batteries. They have indeed leaked, but yet if I push the button, it definitely needs a clean, but other than that, it just seems fine. You got 3 batteries, a switch, the charging connectors, and this rather beefy electric motor. So I think, okay, that was a lot less effort than I thought it was going to be. Tell you what, I'm going to cut away here and I'm going to clean this up and I'll get right back to you. Alright, so I've now got all the larger bits and pieces off washing and drying right now. And now it's time to take the batteries out of this thing so I can then wash the rest of this assembly here as well. It's interesting to note, I can't take the motor out because the end of the motor shaft has been pressed on to our impeller hub. So I'm basically just going to sit it in a little pan of water, but I want to get the batteries out before we do that. Now, again, I do have to put an amazing amount of praise into these batteries because, yes, how many objects do you have around the house have rechargeable batteries in them where the rechargeable batteries have lasted so long and leaked so little? I mean, like, there is some light, fluffy material and signs of a bit of greenish corrosion. But other than that, the batteries, if you poke at them, and we saw it, like, it runs the motor, 3.6 volts. Like, it's like when they're at rest, they are holding their voltage, no problem at all. But alas, the moment I push the power button and, well, put a load on it, yeah, so there's just no endurance left in these cells. So what I'll do here is I'm going to turn on my iron and I'm going to turn off my multimeter. And I bought cells that are pre-tabbed because I don't actually have a tabbing machine. And you can see here, they're just kind of clipped in. So I'm going to desolder our negative, desolder our positive, and I should be able to just slide them out. But otherwise, there's not a whole hell of a lot else to this. It's impressive. And the wiring's also rather heavy. What gauge is that? Is that 14? No, Doesn't want to say. It does seem like a really heavy gauge, considering it's not drawing a ton of amps. But it just, again, comes to show, oh, drat, I have the wrong tip on this right now. Alright, so now you get to witness me change tips out. Because if I touch this right now, it will burn my hands. Okay, start that up again, and now I gotta wait for it to warm up. Be back in a moment. So that side's actually, it's probably under there, so we'll do the negative side first, because that's actually, and that's off. And where is my X-Acto? Yeah, and that's just soldered on as well. Ooh, but it is considerably more corroded. Okay. Let me see if I can get some clean solder to work with. There we go. And it's out. That was very well engineered. Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Assembled in Mexico. So the batteries themselves were not done in North America. Neat. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so what I will do here is I'm going to have to steal... Actually, no I don't. I don't need to steal this cardboard insert because, well, these batteries here, they are bare stainless steel tubes. These ones here, they already have their insulator on them. It's more of a case of soldering those two together. And they're the same size as well. Interestingly, it's worth noting, it's actually also stamped the same way as well, so I can actually see through the sleeve which way is positive and which way is negative. The plastic I'm taking off, by the way, is, one, it's to keep the tabs here folded in, but two, it's just extra protection to make sure that during shipping, they have no way to touch each other and short out. Okay, so, to solder the two tabs together, that's the fun part. How am I going to do this? Ow. Way to go, John. You did the wrong side. Alright, so the big thing I can do here is I can solder the two tabs, bend it over, and then use a little bit of electrical tape to hold the two together. But I also have this piece of cardboard. Okay, so I guess I can end up using that. So what I will do is I'm going to break you off. Steal that. Will this actually fit? Barely. Oh, it's stuck. Yay. Okay. Alright, so we can't do that. We're just going to have to do it ye old-fashioned tape way. I'm just going to stick this. If I don't drop it. Ah! Okay, well, I'm just going to put that there. I need to go... This is difficult to do without any way to hold the batteries. So, hold on a second. I just need to solder these together. Okay, right, so just got to believe me here. That wasn't too difficult to solder the two tabs together. So now it's one piece, and now I'll just go with a little bit of electrical tape, both to hold this together and to cover over the terminals on that. And yes, I realized that was right there. There. That resembles the bottom half here, and now I have this piece up here. And because both ends are tabbed like this, slice off the safety sleeve. Oh, that's interesting. Doesn't fit. Oh, no, it does. It just puts up a little bit of a fight. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So what I'm doing here, I'm just getting this ready so that when I put this one here, I'm going to solder it together. These still are correct. And the factory would have a jig specifically for this, so that these were all properly trimmed to length. We don't have that. All right. Let's see. There we go. Now with these here, these tabs, like, they just suck up solder. So what I'll do is that, not having super high heat, just enough to do the just enough to melt the solder, is that I'll tin the tabs on both sides. And then, just using the iron, I can press them together and hold them together with something. There we go. And then just as a quick test here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put or try and hold one of the battery leads on each side. What happens if I push the button? That's not bad considering I haven't charged this yet. What is our battery voltage sitting at? .3 volts. Hold on. That's interesting. We may have one battery that's dead here, or just very discharged. Hold on. Let me go dig into my other pile here. Because I keep enough of these as spares from another project. Now, it could also be that battery is just totally flat from the fact that I bought it 4 years ago for a project, and these are just leftovers from said project. Okay. Yeah, what's happening here is that the battery is just discharged. Okay, I'm going to pull this battery out. I'm going to wash this, and we'll cut back to everything being clean and ready to be reinstalled. Okay? Fantastic! Okay, so what I ended up doing is leaving this to charge overnight. We've actually now installed the batteries. These are all in their spot, and I was able to get the motor out in the process of breaking 2 plastic pins under here, but there's 2 over here. That's okay. What I'll do here is I'll just, you know, center it back in there, and we're fine. The motor, fairly straightforward to clean. While I was in here, just kind of oiled out the bearings and bushings on either end, so that seems okay. Battery on this is now fully charged, so all I have to do is put the motor back in, and the red here notes positive, and that just simply slides in a little bit. You have this little piece of metal here, and that's actually the switch contact. And interestingly, nothing's soldered here. These are just little spade connectors, and that just slips in over one side of the motor. And you push that in until it seats, and that's it. You're seated. And then you can take the negative side, and now I've hit the power switch with a fully charged set of batteries. Way better. Okay, so impeller. This is just a press fit. I was able to pop it off, no problem. There is little notches on it. I want to see if I can line that up. Otherwise, it's a complete pain in the butt to get this thing back together. Nope, and it just slipped out of there. Okay, and I want to see if I can get that. Well, went too far. Just pull that out a bit. Or slightly tap it with a hammer. There we go. Alright, that seems fine. It does move a lot of air now, by the way. And so now we can take these pieces. Everything is nicely cleaned now. And if I can remember, that just drops into there. And that all lines up. So even with these 2 broken pins here, it all keys in and notches in. So even with this a little bit loose, it's fine. And I want to make sure I have proper clearance, so I'm clearing top and bottom. That looks okay. And just snapping that back together. There we go. And then it's just 3 screws. And they're all the same size. Okay, now we can take the rest of it, snap it together, and we're done. Way better. And you know what the fun thing is about this? Hold on a second, let me go grab it. While I was working to get this one assembled, I by chance discovered I found my other one. I thought I'd left that thing back at my old apartment. Nope, turns out I hadn't. So again, same thing. This one here, manufactured 1989. This one here, manufactured 1995. But what's interesting about this one here, more than likely, same batteries. But remember, 3.6 volts, 2.4 volts. So this one only has 2 batteries in it. Now that either means they were cheapening out and using one less battery, or they're now using a slightly more efficient motor which doesn't require as much power to operate. Not really sure. Either way, they work fine. And that's how you change the batteries in these things. And until next time, have a good one.